I figured I was moving into just another peaceful residential area. Quiet streets, neat lawns, nothing too wild. That changed the moment I ran into Karen Hollings. Karen's the type who thinks she owns the street. Literally. She'd made herself head of a made-up neighborhood group, complete with pretend rules and a bunch of local busybodies playing dress-up like they were law enforcement. What she didn't realize, I'm Lucas Hale. I work for the Federal Bureau of Investigation, and I don't scare easy. It all kicked off early on a Tuesday. I was half awake when someone started hammering on my front door like they were trying to break it down. The windows rattled from the force. Still groggy, I hurried to check the peephole. Two people in matching dark green shirts stood there, neighborhood task unit printed across their chests in cheap iron-on letters. They were holding plastic badges you'd find in a costume shop, but their faces were stone-cold serious. I opened the door, just a crack. "Can I help you?" I asked. The taller one, a guy with a buzz cut and a chin like a cinder block, stepped forward. "We're conducting a home inspection. You've been flagged for multiple code breaches." "Code breaches?" I asked, raising an eyebrow. "We need access to your garage," he added, like this was standard practice. I kept my voice steady. "There's nothing in my garage that violates anything." The woman with him leaned in. Her eyes were sharp, calculating. "We've received complaints. You don't want to make this harder than it has to be. Unless you have actual legal documents," I said. "This is a no." Just then, I spotted someone lingering by the sidewalk. Karen Hollings, arms folded, smug as ever, watching the whole thing like she was the queen of some fake kingdom. "Karen, really?" I asked, stepping outside. "What is this?" "Neighborhood enforcement," she said sweetly. "We take our community standards seriously." The woman in uniform chimed in again. "Your government job doesn't give you special rights here." I chuckled dryly. "So now late-night garage noises are a crime?" Karen shrugged. "Could be a safety concern. Could be something worse." The guy pulled out a wrinkled piece of printer paper. No logo, no signature, just a paragraph claiming I was under review by their so-called task force. "This isn't real," I said, waving it back at him. Karen rolled her eyes. "We can mark down your refusal as another violation. Since when do we have a task force?" I asked. "We've only ever had volunteers." The woman flashed her badge like she was on an episode of Cops. "We've upgraded." "Not in my house," I replied, blocking the doorway. "Unless you bring real law enforcement and a warrant, you're not getting in." The guy tightened his grip on the zip ties hanging from his belt. "Don't push us." "Try it," I said flatly. "See what happens." Karen leaned in. "You always thought the rules didn't apply to you." Right then, my phone buzzed. My supervisor. "Lucas, we need you in now." "Situation just came up." I turned back to them. "I've got work. This is over. If you leave, we'll report you as uncooperative," the woman warned. "This is a joke," I said. "They can detain you," Karen replied coldly. The guy actually pulled out the zip ties. "Last chance. Impersonating law enforcement is a felony," I said, staring him down. Karen clucked her tongue. "You really want to test us? Write all the fake citations you want," I said. "None of them will hold up." As I walked to my car, they snapped photos of me. I noticed a strange vehicle at the end of the road, an old SUV with a magnetic community patrol sign slapped on the door. Engine cold. Karen's car was already gone, probably off spinning a tail to someone else. When I got to the bureau, my boss looked like he hadn't slept. "Local precincts getting complaints. Allegations. Harassment," he said. "What's going on?" "It's fake." Karen and her crew staged everything. "Doesn't matter," he said, showing me a folder full of fake reports. "It's official now." As I left his office, my phone buzzed again. Unknown number. One message. "We know what you are. Watch yourself." That evening, my neighbor, Grace Langley, knocked on my door. She looked terrified. "They gave me this," she whispered, holding a citation for unauthorized garden gnomes. Same bogus format. "They said I'll be fined or kicked out," she added. "Don't pay them," I said. "It's all a scam." But people were already scared. Work got harder. My boss didn't believe me. If this is some kind of private security gig, my hands are tied. So I dug deeper. That patrol car was traced back to an unlicensed security firm based 2 counties over. No business license. No legal authority here. Years ago, Karen had pushed for a neighborhood security plan. It got voted down. Now she'd revived it in secret, running it like some twisted HOA dictatorship. I needed backup. Real statements from real people. Grace agreed to speak out after they came to her door a second time, this time threatening her kids. That night, I showed up at her place when two of Karen's fake officers came knocking again. Leave. Now I told them. They laughed. You're not in charge anymore. Just then, Special Agent Rodas showed up behind me. Let's see your ID, he said. They hesitated. Now he barked. I take you both in. They bolted. Grace filed the report. Soon after, I got a flyer. Handwritten, no return address. About a secret community assembly at Karen's house. I showed up with a mic taped under my shirt. Inside, Karen stood at a folding table, fake cops behind her. We've issued several citations, she said, acting like a mayor. I spoke up. This whole operation is illegal. These officers? Not real. These citations? Fake. Karen sneered. You just hate being held accountable. I held up Rodas' findings. This security company doesn't even exist legally. No license. No approval. The room went quiet. Someone grabbed one of the citations. There's no seal, a neighbor said. No signature. This isn't real. At that moment, Rodas entered with a pair of real officers. We're opening a formal investigation into extortion and impersonation. Karen's face drained of color. You can't do this, she snapped. I have connections. Not anymore, Rodas replied, cuffing her. Her uncle, some higher up in federal law, resigned not long after. My name was cleared. The actual HOA stepped back in, and the phony task force was hit with charges. A few weeks later, my neighbors started reaching out, some even apologizing. The air felt clearer. Karen's grip was gone, and while peace returned to the block, I stayed sharp. Because even in the calmest streets, chaos can sneak in. But as long as truth's got someone standing for it, no fake authority lasts forever. Looking back, it still feels surreal that an ordinary street in a quiet town could turn into the front line of a bizarre turf war. Karen Hollings didn't have a badge, authority, or law on her side. Just a dangerous mix of ego and fear. But sometimes, that's all it takes to twist a neighborhood into submission. People didn't question her because they didn't want trouble. They went along because it was easier than standing up. That's the part that stuck with me most. Justice isn't just about taking down bad guys in high-profile stings or kicking in doors during raids. Sometimes it's about the subtle stuff, people abusing fake power, manipulating fear, using intimidation to build tiny kingdoms. And when no one pushes back, those kingdoms grow. Quietly. Legally. On paper that looks official but isn't. Karen had no legal power, but she created a system that felt real because no one challenged her. Until now, her fall wasn't dramatic. It wasn't the result of some big takedown. It was a neighbor finally stepping forward. A photo proving a fake citation. A paper trail that didn't check out. A couple of honest people who remembered they had rights. That was enough to start turning the tide. Now, the street looks a little different. No more patrol cars that aren't real. No one peeking through curtains, afraid to speak up. Grace waves when she waters her garden. The old guy 2 doors down started hosting weekend barbecues again. Someone even painted a mural on the corner wall. Bright colors, bold shapes, and at the bottom, it reads, Community over control. As for me, I still work the bureau cases that make headlines. But I keep an eye on the smaller things, too. Because now I know, some of the worst threats don't come kicking down your door. They slip in quietly, wrapped in fake authority and a clipboard. And if no one stands up, they take root. But if someone does, they fall just as fast. So yeah, this might have started with a fake citation. But it ended with a neighborhood remembering who it belonged to. Not to fear, not to fraud, but to the people living in it.